All right, what's up guys, it's Matt. So I got another Amazon plasma cutter right here for y'all today. Let's review it and check it out. The VEVOR CUT-50P. It's a 50 amp plasma cutter. Goes from 20 to 50 amps. Torch, air, non-contact pilot arc, switch, ground. Here's some of the thicknesses it says it'll cut. Here's the back, on, off. Here's where the air regulator's gonna go. That's our compressed air in. We got a fan. This switch is really nice, I like it. It's really heavy duty looking. Dual voltage. Here's the plug. Nice heavy duty power cord on it. They sent me this big old 8 gauge 220 volt welder extension cord to check out too. 50 foot long. We're gonna be using it to test this thing. Let's see what's in the box. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah. Here's the manual. We got a bunch of air hose right here. This is our 220, 240 to 110, 120 adapter. We got our torch in here, and then we got our air regulator right here. See what this torch is looking like. All right, so here's the torch. It looks pretty cool. We got our non-contact pilot arc, start lead, pretty standard stuff here. We got the torch tip. We got our standoff, trigger. It's got a nice little swivel ball joint right here. Oh yeah, there's our air regulator. This one looks a lot nicer than the other models I've been reviewing. It's got a heavy duty metal air regulator, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. We got a ground lead right here. It's a little smaller than what I'm used to, and then we got some other accessories here, so give me a second, I'm gonna put this thing together. All right, so I got the regulator all set up here. I use a high flow air fitting that way and get as much air as possible. The gauge isn't in PSI, but we're gonna run it at 0.4 to 0.6, which should be 40 PSI to 60 PSI. This metal air regulator is a lot better than those plastic ones we've seen on some other models. Here's the torch leads all hooked up. So it goes 21.3 to 50.6. All right, so if y'all see me cutting rusty metal, we got clean grounds under the ground clamp, I promise you. 110.
16 gauge. Eighth inch. Here's the cut cleaned up. Man, that is nice, guys. Here's the amps, 110. It's putting out good power, 24.83 amps. Quarter inch.
You know, quarter inch steel is getting up into 220 volt territory. So you can see right here we were cutting that quarter inch steel and it kept tripping the breaker. Once you turn the machine up past a certain point, it'll just trip the breaker. It's like that with all these dual voltage plasma cutters. If you keep the amperage low and go slow, it'll cut it on 110 though. You can see I tried a couple of times to cut it. 220.
16 gauge.
Easy.
There's the cut. Eighth inch.
Easy.
There's the cut. Quarter inch. Here's the cut. 3/8. There's the cut. I got a little squirrely in the middle. Half inch. Here's the cut.
220. Let's crank it to the max.
The machine's set at 50.7 amps. 3/4 inch. Here's the cut, pretty much severance cutting at this point, but it'll do it. I'm impressed. It's putting out beyond its rated current. That's awesome.
Let's see how clean it'll cut.
16 gauge. There's the cut. Nice and clean, nice and straight. 1/8 inch. Nice cut, guys. That is nice and clean. Good and straight.
All right, guys, so I like the plasma cutter. Did a great job. Pros. This is a non-contact pilot arc machine, which means you don't have to have clean metal to strike the arc. It'll start the arc for you, which is awesome. Blast right through paint, rust, anything. It had plenty of power. It cut through that thick 3/4 inch steel. I didn't expect it to do that, but it did. It's putting out over its rated current, which is awesome. And a lot of these machines, you know, they won't do what the label says, but this one did it, which impressed me. It has a nice plasma torch on it and a nice plasma torch tip. Cool pivot point right here. Makes it easy to get the cut straight. You can just rotate your wrist. The consumables are easy to source, you know, they're just generic consumables. You can find them on Amazon and buy a bulk pack of them cheap. It's small and compact, you know, it's light. You can pick it up and go, which is awesome. It's got this holder right here for all the cords, which is cool, because then it just stores easy. The cons. I don't have anything bad to say about this machine. It puts out 50 amps just like it says it's supposed to. The ground clamp could stand to be upgraded. You know, the wire's a little bit thin, but that's like any of these machines. You know, they come with cheap ground clamps. You can get another one cheap and just replace it.
The air regulator is pretty good on this. It did well. I'd change out the gauge to a PSI gauge.
So the 110 volt performance isn't that great, right? You're just cutting thin steel. You're not gonna be able to cut very thick steel or else it's gonna trip the breaker. But it's like that for every dual voltage machine, welders, plasma cutter. You're not getting that much work done with just 110 volts. You really need 220. It's like that for every machine I've tested, right? It'll cut the thin steel, but then when you put it to the thick stuff, it'll just trip the breaker. That's to be expected. Even if you spend thousands of dollars on a machine that's dual voltage, you're limited by 110 volts. It's just the way it is. So cutting thin steel, 110 volts, it'll do it, no problem. But 220 volts is where this thing really shined. It cut that thick 3/4 inch steel. I didn't think it was gonna do it, but it did it. So if you're looking to buy a machine, 220 volts, 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, this machine will do it all day long, no problem. The company sent this machine for me to review and check out. They said, hey man, test this thing out. We tested it out and it did a great job. Links in the description if you wanna check it out for yourself. Later.